What's up, Tailgaters? You're in the booth with Tailgate Nate today. Welcome to my channel. Week 3 has come and gone, which means it is time for my updated college football playoff and New Year's 6 bowl game predictions as well. And I'm going to be just upfront with you guys to start this video. This video is going to fly by, I would hope, a lot quicker than the other ones, as there just are not a lot of changes to my predictions here. Yes, we did have some games occur this past week that maybe have changed the way we look at teams, but it really did not change the way that my predictions are set up currently. So we're going to dive into all of that here in just a little bit, but again, got to take care of business as usual. Thank you so much for the support the channel has seen. Like, comment, share the videos, watch the videos. That's another way you can help support the channel. Of course, the biggest way is subscribe, ring the bell. You guys know the drill. Support the channel in any way you can if you are able and willing to do so. Again, I greatly appreciate whatever you guys are able to do. But let's start out here. Again, you see the college football playoff bracket on screen, and we're just going to run through the teams here really quickly. Now, Georgia did struggle last week against the South Carolina Gamecocks, and Spencer Ryler has been playing pretty well so far this year, but Georgia just may not have the kind of offensive rhythm or the offensive playmakers that they have had in years past, right? Who knows if Carson Beck really is better than Stetson Bennett? I still think it's a little bit early to tell there on that front, but Georgia does not seem as loaded in the wide receiver group as they have been in years past. The running game seems to be okay, at least compared to years prior. Still a really good run game, but when you compare it to years prior, seems to be kind of an okay run game. Now, the defense is still superb. They have the best tight end in the nation, and Brock Bauer, and the offensive line is really good. Just some of the playmakers there might not be up to the Georgia standard that we've seen the past couple of years. Regardless, this still is my number one team as of right now. They've still been somewhat impressive for the most part. You've already played a conference opponent there in the South Carolina Gamecocks, and it should be interesting to watch Georgia moving forward this year. They will, of course, take the All-State Sugar Bowl, as of my predictions have had this entire time. Number 2 for me, still the Michigan Wolverines, although, again, that gap between 1 and 2 is closing. In fact, it may be closed. It may kind of be a toss-up. If you put Michigan at 1, Georgia at 2, I'm not really going to sit here and argue with you, although Michigan has had their fair share of problems there as well. J.J. McCarthy just didn't play well in that last game there against Bowling Green. Michigan's offense really struggled to get anything moving against the Falcons, at least through like the first 2.5 to 3 quarters. Now, Michigan did end up finding their rhythm, and the scoreboard looked a little bit more like what we expected that game to look like. I do believe Michigan gets their head coach Jim Harbaugh back this week. I believe he was serving the 3-game suspension, so Michigan has an undefeated Rutgers team this week. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Rutgers is undefeated. So Michigan has that. They're going to move forward with Nebraska and then get into some real good tests for them as well. So still some time to sort of find their rhythm here, but that defense looks really good. Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards are running all over the field, and J.J. McCarthy has, for the most part, looked good still. So Michigan is solidly in here at my second team. Again, they will be left with the Rose Bowl game, which, again, Michigan is not going to complain about, and neither will the team, again, at number 3, the Florida State Seminoles. Look, they struggled in that game against Boston College. They had plenty of times to be able to close that game out, and the Boston College did play themselves back in that game, but Florida State gave them some opportunities to help them along with that as well. Some late turnovers in some key spots, including the scoop and score that ended up bringing the game right back within reach for Boston College. But overall, I've still been impressed by the way the Seminoles have played, especially throughout their first 2 games. Yes, this performance against Boston College was not their best. It's notable to know that they were down 2 starting offensive linemen and a starting safety as well. Still, the game probably should not have been as close as it was against Boston College, but I've still been impressed with the way that Florida State has looked so far. And again, guys, I don't know if I've said this already, but this is a prediction. If the season were to end right now, who are the 4 teams I'd put in the college football playoff? And Florida State obviously is one of those teams. They have a huge marquee win over the LSU Tigers, and I still firmly believe, look, an interesting test against Clemson coming up this week. I'll have a preview prediction video for that game out today, sometime tonight, I would hope. But for the Florida State Seminoles, guys, it's really all about just improving and getting better from that performance against Boston College. So they're right there still at number 3. And then I still got the Texas Longhorns sitting here at number 4. Yes, They did struggle for maybe 2.5 to 3 quarters there against the Wyoming Cowboys, maybe a little over 3 quarters if you want to start nitpicking here. But Texas did end up getting better throughout that game. Quinn Ewers, for the most part, has still been a very, very impressive sight to behold. It's a Texas defense that has definitely taken a step up from where it has been in years past. Again, even though that offense did struggle against the Wyoming Cowboys, the defense that only let up 10 points. Wyoming is not the strongest of offensive teams, but the point still stands, right? Texas's defense, the Longhorns defense, has improved a whole bunch. It's improved really, really well. Quinn Ewers is playing well, and Texas still, to me, as of right now, holds that number 4 spot. And guys, my semifinal picks have still remained the same. I still think if Georgia and Texas were to play right now, I still think Georgia would walk away with that win. Still think if Michigan and Florida State were to play right now, Michigan were to walk away with that win, and I still have Michigan winning the national championship. But guys, when you take a look at the 4 teams that are on screen here, I mean, you can throw in a number of other teams here that we're going to see in New Year's 6 bowl game predictions. Ohio State, Washington, really anyone out of the Pac-12 right now, USC, Oregon, Utah, all those teams are looking really, really good. LSU, it's going to take some, but they can still make in the college football playoffs. Same thing going with the Alabama Crimson Tide there as well. Notre Dame is absolutely still alive to make the college football playoff. Again, guys, this field is still wide open, but to me, these are the 4 teams that I would have in the college football playoff as of right now. So that is the way that we are going with things now. And yeah, so there you go. Again, no changes there. Now, when we move in the New Year's 6 bowl game predictions, there is one change that has happened here in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic, and to me, the USC Trojans still going to end up in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. USC will make a New Year's 6 bowl game, and again, there are numerous different places USC could go. I do have them going to the Cotton Bowl. Look, Caleb Williams has still been very impressive. That's an offense that's been very, very, very impressive, and the defense at times, guys, has shown that they can be pretty solid, and I think it's a defense that's definitely starting to take some steps forward. You got an interesting game coming up here in a couple of weeks, a good offensive test against the Colorado Buffaloes, who have a big test against Oregon this week, so that's definitely going to be an interesting one to watch. The schedule only gets harder, though, for USC moving forward. It's a very back-loaded schedule, so a chance to really fix in and hone in on all those quirks they have. But I'm replacing the Alabama Crimson Tide here with the LSU Tigers. Look, quite simply, the Alabama Crimson Tide have a lot of things to figure out. Quarterback play, offensive line play, some defensive lapses here and there, guys. Alabama's got to get some things figured out. And LSU, I thought, bounced back very, very nicely against the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Look, that was a game where Mississippi State was supposed to be competitive. It's a game where the Tigers were supposed to struggle, and yet that did not happen. LSU ended up going on the road in Starkville and just absolutely demolishing the Mississippi State Bulldogs. LSU, I think, will continue to improve as the season goes along here, and right now I do have them sitting in a New Year's 6 bowl game. Moving on to the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, that has not changed. Penn State has still been very, very impressive to me, and they got a huge win on the road against the Illinois Fighting Illini, albeit Drew Aller did not look his best. The Penn State team as a whole offensively just didn't really look their best there in that game, but the defense looks really, really good, and throughout most of this season, that running back duo in Singleton and Allen have been really, really good. Drew Aller's got a great group of pass catchers there as well. And Penn State overall, guys, there are so many teams you could put in the conversation for a top 5 team. It is just ridiculous. Penn State is one of those teams, but so is the team that I have them opposing here in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. The Fighting Irish are absolutely a contender for a college football playoff spot. They got a huge matchup in South Bend against the Ohio State Buckeyes this week. I already have a preview prediction video up for that one, so go check it out if you haven't already. That's going to be a fun one in South Bend, no matter who you root for, whether it's Ohio State, Notre Dame, or any other team across the nation. But Notre Dame has been very, very impressive so far. That's a defense that has looked really, really good. Sam Hartman is absolutely slinging it. This young group of wide receivers looks really, really good. Audric Estime at running back just looks phenomenal. There's a lot of talent there on the offensive line, including guys like Joe Alt and others. It's a Notre Dame team that's absolutely stacked, absolutely loaded. They're absolutely making the New Year's Six bowl game, to me, at least as of right now. Moving on to the Capital One Orange Bowl. Again, my prediction still has not changed here in this one either. North Carolina, you could insert Miami, you could insert Duke, you could insert any one of those teams there. I'm going with North Carolina just because of Drake May. I feel like that offense is eventually going to find itself. I feel like Drake May is eventually going to find itself here as well. And North Carolina, still the second highest ranked ACC team by my current metrics, and I believe in the AP poll there as well. So I still have the Tar Heels making the Capital One Orange Bowl. But again, if you want to throw a team like Miami, if you want to throw a team like Duke, even if you want to put Clemson in the Capital One Orange Bowl here, I'm not going to argue with you one bit. I think either of those are fine picks. But I do have Ohio State making the Capital One Orange Bowl. Absolutely still a player in the college football playoff conversation. They're going to get a huge test this week when they go on the road, again, as I just talked about, to play in South Bend against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. But the Buckeyes really were able to turn it on there in that game against Western Kentucky. The defense truly looks like it's taken a massive step in the right direction, and Kyle McCord with the skill position grouping was finally able to put together a complete performance against the Hilltoppers. So the Buckeyes are getting better. They have momentum going into Notre Dame. Again, should be a very fun one in South Bend, but the Buckeyes fall short of the playoffs. As of right now, they're in the Capital One Orange Bowl, and then my Verbo Fiesta Bowl has still not changed as well. I still believe that Tulane is the best group of 5 team out there with a healthy Michael Pratt, the way that defense has been playing. Just Tulane, I think, is the best group of 5 teams still out there. So I still have them in my Verbo Fiesta Bowl here. Again, with Michael Pratt healthy, with a lot of other things going right, Tulane is very, very good. And then Washington is here as well. You could put Oregon here. You could put Utah here. A couple other number of Pac-12 teams could end up making a New Year's Six bowl game. But the one that's just looked the most impressive so far is Washington, and it's really because of Michael Penix. He's slinging it all over the field. He looks super duper impressive no matter what way you really want to cut it. He's got one of the best groups of wide receivers in the entire country. And that Washington defense, hello, they've stepped up and played some big minutes too. So Washington looks very mighty impressive. So again, my Verbo Fiesta Bowl has not changed. Again, only one change to my the predictions this week. I'm sorry the video didn't flow a little bit faster than normal. Again, I like college football. I like to talk about it. I like to ramble. So we'll give you one final look here at the college football playoff bracket, and we'll sign this video out. So thank you guys so much for watching. Continue to support the channel in any way that you can. More preview predictions for week 4. Again, we continue the loaded week 4 slate are coming out today. So remember to play hard, but tailgate harder. We'll see all you guys in the next video. Goodbye.